Muy buenas tardes mi gente y bienvenido al canal. Desafortunadamente les digo que hoy será en inglés, entonces voy a terminar el intro en inglés. And welcome to everyone. Good afternoon. This is my first video in English. It will probably not be something that I always do, but this is the first EB podcast, and it is with a guest that speaks English, so we're going to do it in English. We have Surgical Goblin today. We're going to go with him in just a second. What I do ask is that if you please can leave a like and subscribe. I'm putting a lot of effort into this, and you guys are really giving me so much support, and I appreciate it so much. This podcast, we're going to talk to him about his personal life, the down moments, the best moments, decisions on teams, organizations, everything, absolutely everything. I want you guys to get to know Serge as a person, as a player, and everything that you guys don't know about him. I want you guys to learn here. Please leave in the comments at the end of the video what you liked, what you didn't like, so I can keep making this a better series. We're gonna go in right now with the guests. I'm just gonna touch on a little Spanish for the people that are gonna try to watch this in English. Para la gente que está aquí en español, yo sé que generalmente hacemos los videos en español, pero como Surge se siente un poco más como haciéndolo en inglés y yo quiero que él esté cómodo, vamos a hacerlo en inglés. Espero que lo disfruten. Si no entienden, entiendo que es un poco difícil. El próximo invitado será Sokin y después Javi, entonces vamos a seguir en español todo, pero para este lo hice en inglés. Espero que lo disfruten. Si les gusta, dejen un like, subscribe y gracias por siempre apoyar al canal. Let's go right into this video.
Perfect.
All right, guys, so here we are at the first podcast. Like I promised you, it would be with Surgical Goblin. If you want to introduce yourself, your real name. We all know you by Surgical Goblin, where you're from, how old you are, just so people know you a little bit more.
Yeah, for sure. Yo, what's up, guys? My in-game name is Surgical Goblin, but my real name is Frank. I'm from the Netherlands, and I'm 20 years old.
Yeah, so I know a lot of these questions because obviously I've known you forever on this game. One of my best friends on here, but I'm glad that you're coming on and that we get to kind of connect you with your fans a lot more, which is the purpose of this. So just to start before Clash, what were you doing before Clash? I know you were young, but just so people, because there's a lot of young people, a lot of young fans.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I was just living like, what is the normal life? And I was just going to like school, hanging out with friends, stuff like that. Like I didn't really have any jobs. I didn't really work. I was just, going to school. I used to actually play some games on like PlayStation 3 and stuff. So I actually used to also play games. Never really on my mobile, but then when Clash Royale came out, like I just downloaded it for fun, and I never really stopped since then.
Yeah, so basically, you were a kid. You were enjoying life, and no responsibilities, just. And I want to get right into something in Clash that a lot of people are right now. They tell me, "Oh, but I'm not a pro, so it's hard for me to get best of fives and whatever." And I think something that a lot of people don't know is that you were probably the person that most asked for best of fives in the history of Clash. I swear. For people that don't know, at the beginning of Clash, a lot of people played ladder, 15K tournaments, but every morning you could wake up and you would have a message from Surgical Goblin. Hey, you want a best of five? Hey, you want a best of five? And back then, you weren't Surgical Goblin like you are now. So a lot of people, including myself, sometimes wouldn't answer you or wouldn't. What would you suggest to people? Like, how did you continue to like ask for these best of five, even though some people were egoing you and like all the benefits that came with the best of fives?
I mean, I was just really passionate about it. Like, I just really wanted to improve. Like, I really wanted to practice and grind a lot. So even if some people, or if, like, as you said, like some people ego me, like some people didn't even reply. I knew that some people were even talking like bad behind my back, like, oh, he's so annoying all the time asking. But I think in the end, like, it doesn't really matter what people think about you. Like, it's the most important is what you think about yourself and what is your goal. And my goal back then and still, like, is trying to be on the top, trying to, be the best I can be and just keep practicing, you know?
Yeah, no, I know, and obviously it paid off. Like, we're sitting here today, and if you told me back then, I was one of the people that doubted Serge. Like, you know me, and I tell you everything up front. Back then, bro, I was a believer in CMC and Trainer Chris and Clyde, and that was it. But obviously, like you said, a lot of people might call you annoying and a lot of might do this, but if you're passionate, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how many people call you annoying. And I I applaud you for still messaging, because I would sometimes wake up and I would have 3 messages from you. Colin would have 5, and even if we didn't reply the next day, they would be there until we did start replying and all this. And that's something that I want everyone to kind of understand from you, that you didn't just get here because you were good at the game. No, you were good, but you also worked so much harder than everyone else. Like when we were messing around, you were there really like grinding.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. And that leads me to the next question, which was the first tournament that really opened your eyes to being like, one, I'm really good at this, but 2, like, this could actually be a career? Because I think there's a big difference between I'm good and this could be a career.
Yeah, so there's actually 2 tournaments which I really like right away think about, like if you ask this question. One is like an online tournament, like from my home, like a 15k tournament. I don't know if you remember it, but there was like a Chinese tournament.
I do.
Like a lot of 15k qualifiers. And in that tournament, I actually ended up getting second, like in the 50k tournament. So at that moment, I kind of realized like, okay, like I guess I'm pretty good at the game. Like I might have some potential. But the first live event was actually in 2016 in Paris, like in France. And I actually ended up qualifying for the event. Like I went there with my father. Like no one knew me. Like I was actually, basically like a random. And like all the big names were there. Like back then, like for example, Ming, like one of the best Chinese players. Like he was number 1 in the world at that moment. I actually ended up winning against him. I ended up getting second in that tournament. And from that moment, people started following me on Twitter. People started asking like, hey, could you maybe make a video on this deck? Could you maybe explain me how to use this? Like stuff like that. Like they were kind of like interested in my playstyle. And I just started making like YouTube videos for fun. Like I actually started just like without like quality. Like the quality was honestly just horrible. But I thought it was fun. I just started doing it, and because of the feedback, like I kept growing, I kept going, and that's basically it.
Yeah. So 2 things on that. First, I remember that 15k qualifier tournament like the back of my mind, because really that was like when people ask me what was your biggest like achievement and stuff. Like I always go, I finished with Zapbait top 5, bro. You know, like I was a beast. But like I remember that those were the like amazing days. I think everyone tried to get in that. Everyone tried to qualify, and if you did good, you were considered at least decent back then, because everyone know who finished up top. And actually, you started getting into the next question I had, because I think in terms of YouTube and competition, I think you were the smartest player in Clash when building and combining both. You took a moment where you were winning a lot and you made YouTube right then, and you made time for it, which not a lot of other people did. Because I'm sure if we were sitting here today and someone like CMC or Trainer Chris did the same thing as you, they would kind of be up there with you in terms of... But you were the only one that really actually combined the success with the YouTube early on. There used to be YouTubers and there used to be competitive players. It's how it was. Did you always, in the back of your mind, like when you did games, want to explore YouTube? Or it just happened because, like you said, the fans? Like, did you ever think before competing, like, oh, I might like YouTube or something like this? Or it was simply out of just the fans asking?
Kind of both. Like I remember like a long time ago, I think I was like 13 or something, like playing Clash of Clans. On my tablet, I had like a app, like it was nothing like Twitch, but it was similar to Twitch, like a streaming platform. And I actually streamed some Clash of Clans. I only had like most of the time 0 viewers, 1 viewer, but I just kind of enjoyed it. Like I tried it, but it wasn't really a success. And then after people like started asking me to make like YouTube videos, I was like, okay, let's just try it. Like, why not? Like, I've always like kind of liked the idea, but I never really like dreamed about it, or like I thought like, okay, like if I'm how to say, like older, or if I grow up or anything, like I want to become a big YouTuber. Like I never really looked at it that way, but I just tried it because I wanted to help my viewers and I wanted to help my followers.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. And really, I've sat with a lot of, I'm sure a lot of people know who Chief J is, the coach and whatever. And like when we talk about all this stuff back then, we're like, it's incredible that you decided and you kept going with YouTube, because I think that was the smartest decision in your career. Obviously, the competitive stuff and everything is to applaud you and all that, but it's not easy. I just started doing YouTube, and now I understand the time it takes. And really like the fact that you kept going with it. I think it build your whole reputation, because apart from the competitive, we know there's a lot of competitive players that were one of the best, but I think this added to you something that no one else had. And part of that, I want to get into a team that's very based on content and very, I guess, could help a lot of careers and all this. And that was, you joined Queso. Your first team was Hammers, I'm pretty sure, right? If I'm not wrong.
Yeah. True.
I'm not going to get a lot into Hammers because it was so early on and it was like, whatever. But Queso, what did it feel like joining Queso, a Spanish team? Because back then you didn't know Spanish.
Yeah.
How were they contacting you, and what did it feel like when you joined a Spanish organization?
It was super strange. I remember that I did play some tournaments, like for example the one, as I said like earlier, like the one I got second in, like in France, like that live event. Like it was after that. So basically I was still going to like school, like I was in high school at that moment. And I remember talking to Alvaro, and he was saying like, we have like an idea, like a project, Team Queso. He was explaining me the idea, and I was like, wow, like at that moment, like the idea of being able to just like play the game, like the game I love, and at the same time kind of make it like my job, like get paid for it, travel, stuff like that, was just like the idea itself was already crazy. And then Queso as well, like actually helped me a lot. Like it's a great organization. So I think in general, like really nice.
Yeah, and do you think at the beginning were you scared because of that language barrier, or was it something that was more exciting than scared? Because I know a lot of people today, they still think that some rosters should be all from one language or all this. I know our CRL roster is basically everyone from everywhere in the world, but there's a lot of people that stick to all one language or all this, and like I want you to share like how the transition is and if it's worth taking those risks.
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, as long as both people like are, how to say, like open to like try it, like to communicate, stuff like that, like I feel like it's pretty easy to communicate with someone, like if both person like really want it. But then at the same time, like I most of the times, like in school, I was actually pretty good at languages. Like I picked up English pretty easily. Actually very young, like while gaming and stuff. And I was like, I didn't even think that I would learn Spanish. I was just like, I don't really mind it. Like I feel like I can understand it a little bit if I actually put effort. And also if they put some effort back into it, like they also understand some English. Like it's not like they didn't understand a single word in English. So it actually made it pretty easy. Like I felt like we would be able to communicate.
All right, so if you're open to it, take the risk. I know that you're someone that loves to just speak to everyone. It doesn't matter the language. We'll get down to World Finals and all that a little later. But when you weren't there and Igor got there, it was a lot harder because you're usually the person that's like most communicative with the new people and all that. We're all super welcoming, but you love to talk to new people and get to know. So like when you got there, it was like, okay, breath of fresh air. Igor is here, Serge is here, and everything kind of just clicked. But yeah, I think like you said, if you really want to make something work, you're gonna make it work. I don't think any of us were worried about that with Igor. Like, okay, we need a Google Translate, we'll Google Translate, whatever. If you really want to make it work, you're gonna make it work, and it's not worth passing up on an opportunity.
Yeah, I agree.
What is your favorite memory from Queso? If you had to pick one, it doesn't even have to be competition, or it could be competition. Just like something that when you look back on it, you're like, this moment in Queso was.
I think definitely Kings Cup 2. I remember like actually like we went there like flying like all together, like it was super nice. And then also like being there like in the same hotel room. Actually Adrian Piela like also used to be in Team Queso like with me. Also Diego B, like we were all three there. Actually shared a room with Adrian. So just in general like Kings Cup 2, I think the event was insane. And then also with Queso like it was just really fun like going out. I remember playing the finals, like they were all standing like next to me, like shouting, like cheering me on, stuff like that. Like it was just, like really nice.
Yeah, I think you think that's one of like the biggest things that we miss now from Clash, because obviously CRL we all live together in LA, but when we get to travel to events, even if they're just like weekend events, I miss that so much. I feel like one of the best parts of my time in Liquid was when we went to South by South. It was South by Southwest in Texas, and then we also went to DreamHack. I think it was DreamHack Dallas or Austin or something like that. those events I think are so much fun just because we're all there in like a hotel and messing around and all this stuff. You think that's something that like would really bring back Clash into that huge spotlight?
Yeah, definitely. Also, like I remember with, for example, SLO, like I used to travel to Spain a lot, like Barcelona, like almost every weekend. It was just so fun.
Yeah, I mean, I hope that in some way we can get some events during the off season because I love it. Even if we're not able to compete, we both went to the Red Bull event in Germany, and neither of us were competing. We just went to basically have fun, and I don't think I would be on Liquid if I didn't go to that event right now because that's where we talked a lot about all this. Once you guys didn't have a coach, I wasn't on Cloud9 anymore, but hopefully it comes back. And the last thing I want to touch on Queso before the sad part is what is the biggest positive you got from Queso, whether it be from learning content or how to live with a team or any of that. What is the biggest takeaway that you have from them?
I don't know if it's necessarily from them, but just like before that, like I didn't really travel much. Like I actually used to travel a lot, like with my parents, like even in training stuff. And after like being with them, like I just travel a lot by myself. Like I think I got a lot more, how to say, like responsible, like just being able to like be by myself more.
More independence. You learn how to be more. Okay, that's cool. That's nice to know. And now let's get into the sad part. The part that people don't love. You left Queso. Was it something that you planned to leave? Like you were ready to leave Queso, you were planning on leaving Queso, or did Liquid just come with an opportunity that you said, I cannot pass this up? How was that whole scenario?
Yeah, exactly. Actually, the second one you said, like at first, like I didn't really plan to leave Queso at all. CRL actually just got announced. We were already like planning kind of like the roster. I was 100% sure going to be in the roster like of CRL for Team Queso. But then Team Liquid came with an offer. At first, like I was actually still, how to say, like hesitating, like I wasn't sure at all. But then after like thinking, like after talking with my parents, friends and stuff, I was just like, I can't reject this offer. Like Liquid is definitely one of the best, if not the best esports organization in the world. And it's just, like a dream coming true, you know?
Yeah. No, I understand. I think it's hard to pass up an opportunity like Liquid. Like it was for me in Cloud9, the same thing. I got an offer from Energy. We were about to sign, and then Cloud9 came knocking. And if for people that love esports and everything, there's just certain orgs that you can't pass up. You can't because it's opportunities that you dream of. But looking back on it, do you think it was the right decision?
Yeah, definitely.
100%.
I mean, even like at that moment, like right after like the first CRL, like Queso actually got champions. Like in the first season of CRL, Queso got champions, and we actually did so bad, even though we had like a monster roster. Like at that moment, I was like, did I make the right decision? But at the same time, I was like, I definitely think I did. Like we learned a lot. I got to meet new people. Like I got to meet, for example, Charlie, like Wolfmec, which was at that moment like an unknown player, but we actually ended up giving him the chance to show himself. He did amazing. After that, he still stayed with us. And in my opinion, also like we ended up helping his career grow, you know? Like I think in general, even though if the results weren't that good, like there were always, or there's always some positive things like coming from it.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it plays a little more also to the independent part. This was your team. Like, I understand, obviously you were still surgical at Queso and all that, but there was a lot more to it. Like, Termisfa and Soaking and Fuyer all have that. This was basically your team. This was your team. This was you showing, okay, I can be a captain of a team. I can scout this. And I think that helped you grow. And right now, I treat you as like my second coach. Like you're the player and the captain. But whenever I have any doubts, I think in part, if you would have stayed in Queso, I don't think you would have developed those skills as much.
Yeah, true.
So we just talked about it didn't go so well the first season with Liquid. Yeah. I want to combine that into like two parts. There's obviously a lot of high moments when we look back on your career. Basically, it's win, 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 win. But there are sadder parts, which are like more disappointing. Not sad, but disappointing. Yeah. And I think the two biggest are CRL EU, without a doubt, and World Finals of CCGS. Yeah. So when you went through that, obviously you're the face of Clash and so many messages and all this. How did it affect your confidence or mentality, and how did you get back up from that? For someone that's struggling right now or something like that, How did you do it, and what would you recommend?
I mean, honestly, it was really hard, especially after you said, like, if you look back at, like, the career was win-win-win. Like, I actually won so much that year, and then I didn't qualify. Like, I didn't end up qualifying for the World Finals. Was definitely, like, heartbreaking. Like, I actually, like, everyone already saw me there, you know? Like, after basically being so consistent, winning everything, everyone was like, okay, 100% sure you will be there. So after not making it, it was definitely, as I said, like, heartbreaking. But at the same time, I was like at the like right after it, I was actually really, as you said, like I lost my confidence, stuff like that. But I think also right after that, I started talking with you. I don't know if it was right after it or maybe like a few months, but pretty much after it, right, like yeah, right away. I started talking with you, and I remember you told me basically like, yeah, you don't really necessarily need to look at the past because you can't really change anything about it, but you can definitely change things about your future. So in that moment, I basically just started, yeah, practicing a lot again. And also I remember like practicing with you on call, like you got people for me to play against, and that just helped me, yeah, ended up getting my confidence back, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I remember we would wake up at like 5 a.m. my time to make sure you were practicing, and I wasn't even coach of Liquid at that time. For people that don't know, like I literally wasn't a coach. I didn't even know if I was signing with you guys. I had offers from other teams and all this. I was just doing it out of friendship, out of knowing you, and I think that's something pretty important that not a lot of people will do and all that. But it's a lot easier when you could lean on your friends, like you did. I think even not only with me, but with you made a friendship with Ghana and still with Diego and all this. When you being open in times that you're down is super important because they will help you. Like your friends will help you, and I think if you went through it alone, I don't know how. I'm sure that you would have got back up, but I don't know how fast it would have been compared to what it was. Sure. So basically, I think that's a huge point that you just brought up, to talk with your friends. And also you have a family that's super supportive. You're lucky. I know you're even your grandmother plays Clash. Like I'm not even joking. Like his grandmother actually knows Clash. If I mess up a lineup or something, I'm scared of his grandmother. I don't care about John and Steve calling me. His grandmother will call me and tell me why is Serge not playing. You know, so
like whenever I lose, she's like, "Why didn't you bring the rocket? Why didn't you bring the rocket?"
Yeah. No, it really like I think that's a huge advantage that you have. Obviously, not everyone has it. And it's not easy for everyone to have parents that support a game, unless if it's on your phone, because there is like, oh, you're playing a phone game. Like, what are you doing? You know. But I think it's important for people to understand that when you have that family support, it helps a lot. And that people should take the time to build that support, to explain to your family, because I'm sure your family, I know they're super supportive of you, but you probably sat down with them and explained to them you put in a lot of hours to building their interest in the game as well, right?
Yeah, for sure. And also like at first, like for me, it was also super new. Like for example, the tournament in Paris, like the live event, like I qualified and I was like I qualified, but I didn't really know like what it was exactly. Like for me, it was kind of new. And for them as well. So I think it actually helped a lot that I went with my father like together. So he actually also got to see like how big it is. Because there were at that event, I think alone like watching the finals, there were like 3,000 or more people like just in the crowd, like in the audience, like sitting there screaming. Like the hype was insane. So he or my father like at that moment I think also realized like, okay, this is actually a thing, you know?
Yeah, for sure. So that's another great point that like if there are these events, I know they don't really exist that much anymore, unfortunately. But if you can bring your parent, don't be embarrassed to bring your parent. Bring your parent, enjoy it with them, because it'll be easier for you in the long run. I know Ace, player that used to be with Liquid in South by Southwest, his mom was there and like actually hung out with us all the time, and she was there and she loved it. She was his biggest fan. So I think that's another great point that you bring, that like if you can bring them to events, or they can, it doesn't have to be every event, but just bring them to one so they can understand it, because when you live it, it's a lot easier to understand. Even with your friends, like at World Finals, my best friend came and he lived it, and now he loves it. He talks with you, he talks with all of us, and like everything. So once you live it, you can really understand it and see all the work and all the fans and everything. So bring your parents, bring everyone you can, all your friends. It'll help you a lot. But let's get out of the bad part. Now it's a fun part. After all those lows, after CRLEU, you contacted me. We spoke. I joined the team. We brought Kana in. Did you expect a world championship that quickly after not making playoffs? Like, not even a world championship, CRL West Championship, the first season that we were all together. Before it started, did you envision that that's what we were gonna do, or you were aiming more? Okay, let's make playoffs and see what happens.
I mean, honestly, I never really put like expectations. I feel like it's not. I mean, not necessarily not good, but I just try to focus like game by game. So I've had like definitely like looking at our roster, I definitely thought we had a lot of potential of winning it, but I never really think like, okay, with this roster, like we will easily win it or we will win it or something like that. Like I never really think like that. But of course, like I knew that we definitely had the potential. So I was like, as long as we have good mentality, as long as we work on our like synergy and stuff together, we definitely have potential to do it.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't start off like we were gonna win it. I can tell you that much. But I'm looking back on it. We weren't even a team for that long. I think I got signed. Me and Kana got signed like 2 weeks before the season actually started. And it's to me, it's actually you don't process it until it's been a while. It's crazy that right now everyone Liquid this best team, but we made it happen so quickly that I don't think not myself or you, because I also had a disappointing season. Everyone expected you out of EU. Everyone expected us out of NA. And I dealt with a lot of criticism, and you dealt with a lot of criticism, and I think it all happened so fast that we didn't even process it. But now we get to enjoy it, and even more than that, we got to enjoy a world championship. But it wasn't all rainbows and butterflies and all this, the world championship. There was visa issues. You had to get your visa. It was supposed to be ready like 2 or 3 weeks before. We kept getting delays and delays and delays. And for people that don't know, Surge made it literally less than 24 hours before the first match. Well, before the day, because it all happened in one day. We had no idea if it was going to happen. But what was going through your head that last week? I already know the answer, but obviously, so you share everyone. And how do you maintain positive throughout that time, even though it's not looking great?
I mean, not gonna lie, like I actually kind of gave up my hope, especially because like I got an email. I think like, let's say like for example 7 days before the event, I got an email like it got delayed again. The possible the possible time of the delay could be, for example, up to 2 weeks. So I was like, well, it's basically impossible unless I get super lucky, but let's not give up. So for example, 5 days before the event, I was still saying like, okay, maybe it can happen, especially because the shipment time is also 2 days. Like if I don't get an email tomorrow, the chance is small, but let's not give up, like stuff like that. So etc etc. And then 2 days before the event, I actually got an email saying that the visa is ready, but like the shipment time is 2 days.
We had the express shipment, but even the express was 2 days. Yeah.
Exactly. So I remember that I actually went there like at 6 a.m., 7 a.m. in the morning, trying to pick it up from them. So I was basically like, okay, because if the visa, like if the center in Amsterdam has it, why can't I just come pick it up instead of them giving it to like a delivery guy? So I went there with my mother. I basically asked them I basically explained them the story like, look, I have a World Finals to play tomorrow. Can you guys please like help me? Like, can you guys please just give me the visa instead of giving it to like the delivery company? So they said like, no, unfortunately, like we're not allowed to. I got super sad. Like actually at that moment I had basically like zero hope. Like I actually didn't have any hope left. Me and my mother went back like with the train like back to my house. So then I was like, okay, maybe I can actually contact the delivery company. Like I was just thinking, like I kept thinking of options, you know, like I was like, there has to be a way for me to at least try to make it. So I actually ended up contacting the company, and they were like, okay, so maybe we will get it because we get the last shipment. Like they were like, we don't have it yet, but the last shipment comes here today at 5 p.m. At that moment it was like 3 p.m. So I was like, okay, I will wait. I will call you guys back at 5 p.m. So I called them back at 5 p.m. I'm like, so yo, what's up guys? Do you guys have more info? Like, do you know if it's there yet? He's like, I'm sorry, but it's super busy. I can't really tell you if it's here, but I will call you back later if it's here. So then he called me back in like 1 hour. He's like, it's here. You can come pick it up. So me and my mom went there like right away, like super fast. Picked it up. I actually bought the plane ticket right away. Like I remember I was calling you like at that moment. I was like, I got it. You bought me the ticket right away. I went to sleep. Next morning, like 5 a.m. I think, we went to the airport, got into the plane, 12-hour flight. I arrived, you picked me up. We right away went to the studio because we actually had some rehearsals to do. So I didn't even manage to sleep like at all, like in the plane. I was just so hyped, but at the same time so nervous because like obviously I still had some hope. Like I actually was super ready. Like I kept practicing with you guys from home like every day. But at the same time, I didn't really expect it to happen because it was just so unrealistic at that moment. And then we ended up winning the World Finals.
Yeah, I mean, I think throughout the process, like I was trying to keep you as positive as possible, but it got to the point where you said like there was 4 days left, no email, takes 2 days, and I think at that point I was like, okay, like it's not happening. It's not happening. We actually like original plan for World Finals was you were gonna play the 2v2 with Ghana, and then I was gonna put Igor in for the 1v1s with Diego, and then Igor actually also missed a couple flights, had some problems. So it got to the point where I was gonna play, and all this, and really then Igor showed up, so I wasn't gonna play, and then you showed up, and we changed again the strategy from Kana and Diego back to you, and so we didn't really have practice. I don't think people understand that in the 2v2 strategy point, we didn't really have practice, in the sense that like we knew which pair was gonna play. We practiced Kana and Diego, and me and you were practicing versus them, so. Yeah, it's not like we were full rusty, but you weren't practicing with the partner you were going to play World Finals. But how was it to, obviously, like you just explained, you didn't sleep on the plane. We got there, we went straight to the studio, and we were practically there the whole day. We also had one of the worst seeds because we didn't do great in the qualifier tournament for our seed. Mentally, how were you able to, like, play? Not only play, but like you played at the highest level, one of the highest levels of your career. How, like, you were tired, you didn't have practice, you were worried, nervous, all this. How did you manage to like really make it happen?
Actually right before leaving, my mom said like probably you're going to be so exhausted, but just give it your everything, and then afterwards, like even if you get sick, even if like whatever happens, you at least gave it your everything. So I basically kept that in my mind all the time, and it helped me a lot actually.
That's nice. Yeah, I think also like pure adrenaline is just like when you step on that stage, like everything just goes away. Like tired, you can't be tired. Like all the fans, especially because it's live. If it wasn't live, I think it would have been a little harder. Obviously, we suffered from that in playoffs a little. I think that we were exhausted by the end of it. But we all know that was kind of the one thing you were missing in your career, a world championship from a Supercell event, because you can title other events that you won world championships technically, but you were missing that. Was it everything you dreamed of? Like, what was that feeling of finally getting that trophy?
I mean, at that moment I was just speechless, especially because of the match against Morten, like the 1 HP match. Like, it was just, like, I didn't believe it. It was really like I was dreaming, you know? Especially because all the process, like with the visa and everything, winning with 1 HP, like the entire story is just like
it seems fake. Crazy. Yeah, it seems fake.
Exactly.
So, but it was everything you ever dreamed, like becoming a world champion was gonna be, right? Like for people that dream of it, like it's worth it. It's worth all the hours you put in. It was
for sure.
Okay. So those were kind of my questions. Now I have a couple more questions. I tweeted, you retweeted, and a lot of the fans asked questions. And the first one that I actually got from 3 different people is, how would you recommend to someone, or what tips would you give to someone that wants to do competitive and YouTube at the same time about managing their time? And how would you, just tips on how to do both at a high level?
So in my opinion, like it depends, but you can actually combine your competitive matches and YouTube. Like sometimes I actually make videos about, for example, let's say I have a tournament, let's say I have like a league or something. Like sometimes I actually record the matches of the league itself. So I would just go into my battle log, like I would just look at the replays, and then go over it, like what I was thinking at that moment, what I maybe could have done better, like stuff like that. So then at the same time you make content, like you have good content for your YouTube channel, but at the same time you're actually practicing, like you're being productive in a competitive level as well.
Okay, so basically what I got from that, maybe I'm wrong, but is that you don't actually have to separate the two. You can exactly use one to fuel the other, and obviously there's some videos that you can make outside of competitive, but when you don't have the time or you have too much competitions or all that, you can actually use that content and turn it into YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay. Another question is, ¿cómo aprendiste español?
En plan, escuchando ustedes hablando español, pero también viajando. En plan, tengo muchos amigos que hablan español.
All right, there you go. For all the people that are watching this that speak Spanish, there's some Serge Spanish for you. We didn't do the whole podcast in Spanish because I wanted him to feel as comfortable as possible, of course. And also, even though you know a lot of Spanish, I feel like the deep questions and all the emotions and all that is easier to explain in English. That's why we didn't do it in Spanish. For those, I know I'm gonna get that question a million times. There's three more questions. Sorry. They're pretty quick. One is, what is the best thing you've got from Clash Royale? I know you said traveling a lot. Is that also like the best thing you've got from Clash Royale, or what would you consider?
I mean, in general, like it's not like one thing. I think in general, just basically what I have right now, like all the friends I meet, like all the people I meet, the places I travel, like actually like travel. But then at the same time, like for example, right now the opportunity to being in Team Liquid, like doing something I love as my work, like I actually made from my hobby like my work, like that's just crazy, you know, like it's just super nice.
It's absolutely crazy. I think people dream about being able to play video games for a living, create YouTube videos for a living, and you did it. So congratulations to you. This one is actually a question that I never thought of asking you, but when I read it, I was kind of like, I kind of have to ask him this. How does it feel when people call you the GOAT, like the greatest of all time? Like, how does it feel to look back on Clash 4 years after it started and be called by people the greatest of all time? And it's not just your fans that call you that. It's the casters, it's the other pro players, it's everything. So it really is, you know, it's not like a couple of fans that, oh, Surgical, you're the GOAT. How does it feel to like stand there today and like, you know?
I don't know. I mean, I personally don't consider myself it, but obviously if people say it, like I really appreciate it, especially if you look at like all the hours of hard work like I put in, like I definitely really appreciate it, and I think it's awesome if people say it, but I would never really consider it myself because there's so many people who's also like super good.
Yeah, well, you're the GOAT, and we all know that, but you're the humble GOAT, which is good. I know you personally, and you're one of the nicest people. And I know you would never call yourself the GOAT. I know that. That's why I think we never really touched the topic, but I thought it was cool to ask you about it. And the last question from the fans is, have you ever thought about stopping playing Clash, and what would you do after it?
I mean, I haven't really thought about stopping like at all. Like actually one time, like I was like right after I didn't qualify for the World Finals for CCGS, I was actually really sad at that moment. Like I didn't really think of stopping, but that was definitely like my deepest, like moment in my career. And what would I do after that? I actually have no idea. Like I feel like there's a lot of options in esports like itself. Maybe I can stay in Team Liquid, become, for example, I don't know, like some kind of manager, maybe some kind of coach, maybe, I don't know, maybe in another game, like actually play at the moment like some Fortnite for fun, like maybe I can do something with that, like you don't know. And also like what made it easy for me to actually stop studying, like I actually started studying, but I actually ended up stopping to become like a professional, like in this case, like esporter and also YouTuber, was because I can always study again. Like if necessary, I can always go study in a couple of years.
Of course. Yeah, I think that's actually something very important. I had a career in Call of Duty, which I stopped to go to college. And looking back on it, I don't think it was the right move. I think it's super important for everyone to finish high school. High school is not something that you want to kind of really go back to because it's a little weird when you're 30 and you're going back to high school. But college is always there. It doesn't take that much time when you think about it. It's 2 to 4 years. It's really nothing in our lifespan. And if you have an opportunity, go for it, like you said. We also just learned that Surgical is going to take my spot as a coach. Thank you. I'm going to start looking for a team. But no, I think you would make an insanely good coach. Obviously, you have more knowledge than me at the game. I go to you sometimes and everything, and you obviously are the captain of this team and all that. So I think if you want to pursue that in the future, you have no problems with that. And to end this podcast, I want to do something because I think a lot of the people that are going to come on my podcast are friends of mine. So I want to do like a little parting thing where, what's your favorite memory with me? And I'll tell you my favorite memory with you. I can go first if you want to give you some thought, because I already wrote the question, so I know the memory. For me, it's a couple of memories, but they all go into like the same little hub, and it's we have a team that loves to go do stuff, but sometimes they just want to lay in bed and not do anything. And I think like some of my favorite moments are like, I think we've gone at 11 at night, at 10 in the morning, at whatever time it is, we get in my car, we put some music, and we drive down LA, wherever, Beverly Hills or Santa Monica or all this, and just talk as friends, like absolutely nothing to do with Clash. And I think that's something that like I'll always remember. Just, hey Serge, you still awake? I know it's midnight, but you want to go for a drive? Yeah, let's go. We literally put our flip-flops on, we put our hoodie, and we go lower our windows down, our favorite music, and just talk. And that is something that I don't think I'll ever forget, because it built like a relationship with us outside of just Clash. So that's my favorite memories with you. If you want to share, you're more than welcome to not share also. Like, it's just something that I'm trying because it's a first podcast, so just trying new things.
I really like the idea. I was actually, not gonna lie, I was thinking about the exact same thing. But if I would have to say something different, well, it's kind of the same, but you remember like the spot we had, like we actually drove around like a lot. We also had like a spot at the beach, which was like super chill, like there weren't a lot of people, and we would just go there, like lay, sometimes like that, or just sit there, and just also like, it's basically the same, but then instead of being in the car, like just sitting at the beach, like,
our little private spot that we go to. Yeah, for sure. I think it's something that people don't realize as much, but when they say, would you make changes in the team? And it's like no player can take that, or no coach can take that spot. We've built more than just a team, and like I think our whole team is like that. Our whole team is a family, and I think that's why we do so well, because it's not just, okay, we have the best players, but we actually care about each other. So
I agree.
If you want to say anything to the fans watching, or to your fans, or to anything, I'll give you the floor before I end the podcast.
Not necessarily something specific, but just in general, like thank you guys for watching, and thank you, Eric, for inviting me. Like, I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure. And that's where we're gonna end the podcast here. I want to thank Serge for taking the time, because we all know he's busy. He has his own YouTube that I'm gonna leave below, which I probably, out of my 7,000, every single person is subscribed. But if you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. I'll leave all his social media there. I had a lot of fun recording this podcast. If you guys enjoyed it, please leave a like as well, and comment what you would change, if you like the way I did it, if you like all the format, the layout, everything. I will be reading all the comments like I always do. Thank you for stopping by. Love you guys, and I'll see you next week.